Have you ever wondered how someone can cause you immense pain and then simply proceed with their day as if you don't exist? Imagine a scenario where the individual who shattered your spirit actually retains a vivid memory of every single trauma they inflicted. The legendary Swiss psychologist Carl Jung suggested that the traits in others which provoke us most are actually mirrors reflecting our own hidden depths. Yet, there is a darker layer to this concept that many fail to grasp, a secret that completely alters how we view those who refuse to apologize. By the time we finish, you will finally grasp why some people enjoy a peaceful slumber while you are left awake, dissecting every cruel remark and every look of betrayal that scarred your soul. Let us begin with a chilling reality that most find impossible to accept. They haven't forgotten. That person who broke your heart, who made you doubt your sanity, and who left you feeling utterly abandoned. They possess a perfect record of the damage. They recall every sharp word, every violated oath, and the exact moment they watched your world fall apart under the weight of their choices. They watched your tears fall and noted the tremor in your voice, yet they chose to bury that data in a vault of psychological convenience. According to Jung's theories regarding the shadow, every human possesses a hidden reservoir of traits they desperately try to ignore. Jung observed over many years of therapy that the more we bury these dark aspects, the more control they exert over our behavior. However, the situation is actually much more calculated than simple avoidance. These individuals aren't struggling with a bad memory. They are engaging in a precise psychological maneuver designed to protect their ego from the crushing weight of their own cruelty. Jung identified this as shadow projection, a process where someone denies their own malice by forcing you to carry the burden of it instead. But there is a more unsettling truth lurking beneath this pattern. If you've ever been baffled by how someone can ruin your life and then go grab lunch like nothing happened, what I am about to explain will redefine your understanding of human character. Carl Jung noted that when two souls collide, a transformation occurs, much like a chemical reaction. But what happens when one soul refuses to change? What happens when they prioritize their own ego over the truth? They don't just forget their sins, they perform a deliberate act of mental erasure. To remember would mean facing something most people are too weak to handle: total accountability. As Jung noted in his research, real accountability requires the most frightening thing imaginable: honest transformation. Jung once wrote that the most terrifying path is to fully embrace oneself. These people have anchored their entire personality on avoiding that specific fear. They have built massive mental fortresses to dodge the very realization that would actually save them. Do you know what they prefer instead? They are addicted to the safety of denial, often saying things like, "It wasn't that bad," or "You are overreacting," to keep their mask intact. Jung discovered that the human mind will do almost anything to protect its own self-image. He called this the persona, a hollow shell we wear to hide our true nature from the world and from ourselves. Based on his observations, when someone hurts you and acts like it's a non-issue, they aren't just lying to you, they are living what he called a provisional life. This is a state of existence where a person avoids the hard work of growing up by remaining perpetually innocent in their own mind. And here is where the manipulation becomes truly toxic. Jung famously said that what we resist will always persist. But he also found that some people are experts at making their resistance feel like your personal failing. When they ignore the damage they caused, they are trying to break your spirit. You might find yourself lying awake at 3000 am, replaying the same conversation, searching for the moment you went wrong, while they are fast asleep, undisturbed by the wreckage they left behind. This is not a lack of memory, it is an abundance of self-preservation. Stop allowing their refusal to change to become your reason to suffer. This is a classic reaction of the shadow self encountering a demand for justice. They don't offer regret, they offer blame. They don't fix the wound, they try to convince you that you aren't even bleeding. Modern psychologists call this gaslighting. But Jung saw it as a desperate attempt to protect a fragile ego at any cost. He realized that while the ultimate goal of life is to become whole, some people choose a different path: the power of strategic silence. Their refusal to speak isn't a mistake, it is a tactical choice. This weaponized silence is why you feel so drained and desperate for a closure that they will never provide. While you get weaker trying to understand, they feel stronger by staying silent. Silence forces the victim to do all the mental work. You start over-analyzing, over-explaining, and chasing them for a crumb of validation. That isn't an accident, it is the goal. Jung taught that true vision comes from looking inward, but these people are permanently focused outward. They project their guilt onto you, so they can walk away feeling clean while you are buried under their trash. Jung called this unconscious competence. They have become masters of manipulation without ever having to admit it to themselves. They know exactly how to make you feel responsible for their mistakes. But the most shocking part of this behavior involves the creation of a psychological trap. Jung found that silence creates a powerful form of dependency. The more they withhold the truth, the more you starve for it. This hunger makes you lower your guard and accept less than you deserve just to hear them speak. They make you afraid of your own worth by keeping you trapped in a desert of no response. According to Jung's work on archetypes, some people get stuck in the innocent role. They have made being the good guy their entire identity, which means they are literally incapable of admitting they did something bad. To apologize would be to destroy their entire world. Jung found that people who avoid responsibility have actually mastered the art of hurting others while keeping their own hands clean. They operate from a state of inflation, where the ego is so bloated it cannot handle any criticism. When you ask for an apology, you aren't just asking for words, you are asking them to let their ego die. And they will never let that happen. Notice what they do when things get real. They disappear. They post happy photos. They find yes men to tell them they are right. This isn't a mistake, it is a system. Jung warned that until we make the unconscious conscious, it will rule us like fate. These people have turned their avoidance into a lifestyle. But there is something even more chilling about their ability to sleep at night. Jung discovered dissociative competence. This means they can completely detach their actions from their sense of self. They don't just lie to you, they have successfully lied to themselves. They believe they were forced to hurt you, or that they are the victim of your reaction. They rewrite history in real time, making themselves the hero of every tragedy they caused. A person who cannot face their own darkness can never see your light. Jung knew that maturity requires the courage to be wrong, and that is exactly why you keep getting hurt by people who lack a moral compass. They don't see guilt as a tool for growth, they see it as a lethal attack. In their mind, I did something bad equals I am a bad person. Since they cannot accept being bad, they must delete the action entirely. They choose the comfort of the lie over the pain of the truth. Jung realized that you cannot fix someone who is invested in being broken. When you try to talk to them, it feels like a war because, to them, it is. Your pain is a threat to their fake innocence. They don't hear your crying as a plea for love. They hear it as a judgment they must defeat. They have built such high walls that they have lost access to their own heart. They are stuck in a provisional state, forever avoiding the work of becoming a real human being. Jung understood that people exist at different levels of evolution. Some people hit a ceiling and simply stop growing. They will give you excuses and silence, but never the truth. The apology you are waiting for isn't held back because you aren't worth it. It's held back because they don't have it to give. Their emotional well is bone dry. Real healing requires the ability to hold both your mistakes and your virtues at the same time. Many people simply lack the psychological hardware for that. They are like a computer trying to run a high-definition program on an ancient operating system. The capacity for empathy and accountability simply isn't installed. Jung noticed that these patterns repeat until they are brought into the light. But some people are committed to the dark. They will find friends who never challenge them and environments that protect their delusions. They stay in a hall of mirrors where they always look perfect. Once they look at a real mirror, their world would shatter. They have spent their lives running from the terror of self-reflection. But here is the most important lesson Jung ever shared. You cannot force a sleeping person to wake up. You cannot love someone into being a better person if they are dedicated to their own immaturity. The most radical act you can take is to accept that they will never give you what you need. Their silence is not a reflection of your value, it is a report on their limitations. Trying to get an apology from an unconscious person is like trying to find water in a desert. It isn't that you aren't thirsty, it's that the water isn't there. Jung spent his life teaching us to face ourselves, but he knew this work was a choice. No one can be dragged into the light. The people who hurt you and act like nothing happened are still lost in a dream. They are still running. But you are different. You have been doing the heavy lifting. You have been seeking growth while they chose to stay stagnant. Your peace does not require their permission. Your worth does not need their signature. The individual who ignored your pain knows what they did, but they are too weak to own it. Stop wasting your breath on people who benefit from not hearing you. Stop carrying the weight of a bridge that you are the only one building. Jung believed the greatest privilege is to become who you are. You are someone who values truth. You are someone who is brave enough to heal. When you stop trying to wake up the unconscious, you finally have the energy to find people who are already awake. When you stop waiting for the immature to grow up, you make room for real connection. The goal isn't to save everyone, it's to protect your soul from those who refuse to save themselves. That is the true meaning of shadow work. Everything that hurts us about others is a map leading back to our own power. The people who lacked remorse taught you what you will no longer tolerate. They proved that your heart is too valuable to be left in the hands of the hollow. The apology you never received was never about your value. It was about their ceiling. It was about the fact that their capacity for growth ended where your need for truth began. Your growth is your own. Your freedom is your own. And that is where your victory lies. You are now free to walk away from the dream and live in the truth. To go deeper, we must understand the concept of enantiodromia, the tendency of things to turn into their opposites. When someone acts completely indifferent to your pain, it is often because the underlying guilt is so massive that the only way they can survive is to manifest the absolute opposite, total apathy. It is a psychological counterweight. The more they know they are wrong, the more they must pretend they are right. It is exhausting, lifelong performance that they are trapped in. You, on the other hand, are not trapped. You have the ability to feel, to mourn, and eventually to move on. Their peace is a fabrication, a fragile bubble that can be popped by a single moment of honesty. Your peace, once earned through this shadow work, is indestructible. Consider the persona once more. Jung described it as a mask designed on the one hand to make a definite impression upon others, and on the other to conceal the true nature of the individual. When you confront someone who has hurt you, you are attacking their mask. Since they believe they are the mask, they feel you are attacking their very existence. This is why their reaction is so disproportionate. This is why they label you as crazy or unstable. It is a defensive maneuver to keep the mask glued to their face. But you don't need a mask. You have seen your shadow. You have acknowledged your own capacity for harm, and you have chosen a different path. This leads us to the most profound realization of all. The closure you seek is not something they can give you. Closure is not a signed document from your offender admitting their faults. Closure is the moment you realize that their opinion of the situation no longer has the power to define your reality. It is the moment you look at the dry well and stop lowering your bucket. It is the moment you realize that their refusal to apologize is actually the final piece of evidence you needed to know that you are better off without their influence. Jung's work was always about the individuation process, the journey to becoming a whole, integrated human being. That journey often requires us to leave behind those who are committed to remaining fragmented. As you move forward, remember that your sensitivity is not a weakness, it is your compass. It is the very thing that allows you to experience the heights of joy and the depths of connection. Those who have numbed themselves to avoid guilt have also numbed themselves to the beauty of life. They live in a gray world of their own making, where nothing is their fault, but nothing is truly theirs either. You live in a world of color, of consequence, and of genuine growth. The pain you feel today is the labor pains of a new version of yourself, one that is stronger, wiser, and more discerning. The next time you feel the urge to explain your pain to someone who refuses to hear it, pause, take a deep breath, and remember Jung's words. Remember that you are trying to explain the sunrise to someone who has chosen to live in a windowless room. Instead of trying to convince them of the light, walk outside and enjoy it yourself. Your life is too short to spend it as an unpaid teacher for those who refuse to learn. Your energy is a finite resource. Invest it in those who can meet you with the same level of honesty and vulnerability that you bring to the table. In the end, we are all responsible for our own shadows. We can either integrate them and become whole, or we can project them and remain hollow. The people who hurt you have made their choice. Now it is time for you to make yours. Choose healing, choose truth, choose yourself. The path of the soul is not an easy one, but it is the only one worth walking. Thank you for walking this path with me today. If this resonated with your journey, please like the video and share your thoughts below for Winds of Thought. Your comments help build a community of those seeking the light. Don't forget to subscribe to Shadow of Minds for more insights into the human soul and the mysteries of the unconscious. Until next time, stay conscious, stay brave, and remember that the light you seek is already within you, waiting to be acknowledged. Every step you take away from the shadows of others is a step toward your own brilliant sun. You are the architect of your own peace and the master of your own healing. Believe in that power and never let anyone's silence make you feel small again. You are whole, you are worthy, and you are free.